Shalom Akim. This is your brother Karath. I'm coming at you again with another lesson. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, and enough respect to the brothers that's laboring to be in the spirit that Lord Yahweh Shai came in. I think I'm going to title this one The Most High Time, or God level, or something like that. I did a lesson before, and I may put it in the description. I might put the link in the description, and so you can have access to it. But I talked about transcending the law, or acting as if the royal law is already a thing, or acting like the law is already written in our inward parts. So if you go into the royal law, right? Let's see, it's James. Just to kind of do a little slight recap, not too much. James 2:8. It says, "If ye fulfill the royal law according to the scripture, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. You do well." So you do well. You know what I mean? When you keep the royal law. The royal law is to love your neighbor as yourself. You do well. That's just doing well. And we know that, moderation, I've came to this realization and this revelation that moderation is actually somewhat of a law to you if you really start leveling up in this thing, because moderation, we understand that if you're not being moderate, then it can lead to other ungodly actions. So moderation is actually, a law, to those that have an ear to hear and that level up in this thing, because you can cause somebody else to fall from their own steadfastness by not being moderate. Also temperance is a law, having self-control, because for the same reasons, intemperance can lead to unrighteousness, man. It can lead to wickedness. Making decisions and deciding what is expedient, man, that becomes a law to you. Things that prick your conscience, those things become a law, So once you finally get to leveling up and you get to the royal law, which is treating your neighbor as yourself, we didn't really understand that because we just had the law. That was just like, hey, somebody did something to me, I'm doing it back to them. This is what the law says, period. You know what I'm saying? Then we started leveling up because Lord Yahweh Shai came on the scene, and he's, he told us, gave us the royal law, and the more you level up in this thing, it talks about the principles of Lord Yahweh Shai. Hebrews 5:12, it says, for when it's Hebrews 6:1. Therefore, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Yahweh Shai, let us go on unto perfection. We know we had to level up and go on to perfection, and we know that perfection is reaching that God level, because Most High said, "Ye are gods," right? So you have to level up in this thing. So let me pick up where I was talking about what I was speaking about before. I was saying deciding what is expedient is a law. Because why? Because we're leveling up, man. We're leaving the principles of the doctrine of Hamashiach, and we're going on to perfection, not laying again the foundations of repentance from dead works and of faith toward the Most High. We know certain things can lead to dead works. That's why we, check ourselves with moderation and temperance and deciding what's expedient, and being pricked in our conscience and deciding what's best, using discretion. Using discretion is a law, it becomes a law unto you. Being an example to new people in the faith, man, that becomes a law. Not giving an appearance of evil, man. These things become a law unto you. because we understand that the law was kind of like, small. It was on a smaller level, and that was made for ungodly men. It really it wasn't a thing. It's not something that you just say, hey, I'm staying within the perimeters of the law. That's it. No, you want to level up even beyond that. You want to surpass, you even want to surpass the royal law. I know that's kind of crazy to think about, but that's the reason this lesson came about, is because we want to be on the most high time. You really start leveling up in this thing, man. Not saying that we're trying to be like the Most High, because I know people will get simple. I'm talking about you want to level up so that the Most High can say, hey man, this is perfect. This is perfectly like I've envisioned you being. So the law just identifies what sin is, like I was saying before. Excuse me. Romans 7:7, it says, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? The Most High forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. For I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. So the law, it identifies what sin is. This is just a quick recap, and then I'm going to get into what I really want to speak about. This is Romans 3:20. It says, therefore, by the deeds of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight. For by the law is the knowledge of sin. Excuse me. So we know that the law is the knowledge of sin. And we understood that more. We understand, those of us that are starting to level up in this thing, we understanding that moral conviction actually trumps the schoolmaster, because all that the law was just a schoolmaster. This is in the scriptures. We understand this. It's just a schoolmaster is supposed to point out sin and let you know what sin is. Then you're supposed to grow and elevate. You're not supposed to stay stagnant on that level. You're supposed to level up. And that's what I was bringing out in Hebrews 6:1. You lay aside the principles of Hamashiach and you go on to perfection, man. So, we understand that even if you're in the right, in certain instances, even if you're in the right, and you have some superior understanding, and and you can prove that you're right and you can handle something, and your brother, he's not quite there yet. If you refrain from doing whatever that is so he doesn't stumble, this to you is also a law, man. Condescend to those of low degree. That becomes a law unto you once you start to level up, man. Once you're strengthened and you understand more. So moral conviction trumps the schoolmaster. And that goes into moral conviction, because you have superior understanding, and that goes into you being having more understanding. Having more understanding goes along with being able to make executive calls, man, so to speak, for lack of better words. So we right now we have the law of loving kindness according to Romans 6, right? Romans 6:14, it says, for sin shall not have dominion over you, for ye are not under the law, but under grace. And if you go into that word grace right there, I hope nobody calls. Yeah, kind of. If you go into that word, let me see. Okay, so if you go into that word grace right there, right? If you go into that word grace, it's goodwill, loving kindness, and favor, right? Pleasure, delight, sweetness, charm, love, and loveliness. So it's basically, if you're under grace, it's the Most High showing his loving kindness to you, right? And what you're supposed to do is turn around and show the same thing toward your neighbor. But it gets a little deeper, but I'll get more into that. But the law of loving kindness is what we're under, you'll start to realize we're under the law of loving kindness. We're not under the law anymore. Romans 6:14. But that doesn't mean we don't have to do the things contained in the law. It's just that there's no law against loving kindness. There's no law against charity. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you're not under the law, but under grace. So let me go here real quick. This is Jeremiah 31. And 34. It says, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord. So that's what we're doing right now. We're teaching people to know the Lord. And some people are leveling up. Some people are like, oh, I'm staying within the law. Some people haven't quite mastered the idea of the royal law, which is to love thy neighbor as thyself, because it goes a little deeper than just loving people that are in your camp or loving people that are in your inner circle. You have to love your neighbor as it is in the book of Leviticus, because it points out who your neighbor is, so and it gets even deeper than that, which I'll get into more as well. But so what's the prophecy is saying here is that we don't have to teach anyone anymore to love their neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Most High, for I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. So, and we know in the book of Hebrews it goes into it a little bit more, but there's going to be no need to teach you to teach the Israelites anymore, because we will know, we will understand how to be merciful, because the scripture says that in Hebrews. It says, I will be merciful to their unrighteousness. But the Most High is merciful, and we'll understand how to be merciful on a profound level, because even if you consider the heathen, we're going to have them in subjection, and we're going to rule them with a rod of iron. But after it's all said and done, they're going to rejoice because the righteous are going to be in authority, because we're going to treat them righteously according to the law, which is a level of mercy that we can't even grasp right now, because we are so bent on hating the belt. I'll just put it like that. But once we really finally level up, we'll understand that we have to be kind to and merciful to and it's going to surpass even your neighbor, you know what I mean? But that's when you really get on God level, man. But let me go ahead and get into it, man. So I went into James 2:8 already, and we talked about how you do well. You do well when you love your neighbor as yourself. You're doing well. You're doing pretty good. Or when you suffer for, matter of fact, let me grab that. Let's grab that real quick. I think it's First Peter. Okay, so we'll just go straight to First Peter 2:20, because it says, for what glory is it when ye be buffeted for your faults? Ye shall take it patiently. But if when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with the Most High. So, this when you do well and then you suffer for it, this is acceptable. So we reach in levels of there's levels in this thing, I'm trying to just establish that there's levels, man. You buffeted for doing well, that's acceptable. When you love your neighbor as yourself, this is another level. This is this is, like the scriptures puts it, this is you do well. You do well. Certain things are acceptable. Certain things they describe it as you do well. But then you start to level up a little bit when you go to the book of Matthew, right? Salakia, the book of Matthew. 19, verse 21, right? It says, Yahushua said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, let me jump up a little bit. Matthew 19 and 18. I started 17. And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is the Most High. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. So if you want to enter into life, you keep the commandments, right? He saith unto him, which Yahushua said, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The young man saith unto him, all these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Yahushua saith unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, so if you want to level up and be perfect, go and sell that thou hast and give to the poor, thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. So he told him to get rid of everything, stop hanging on to, the things in this world, but instead put all your eggs in a spiritual basket, and follow Lord Yahushua. You know what I mean? And that's how you level up. That's one level. That's reaching a new level in this thing, because it's like, okay, I've already kept the law. I'm staying within the parameters of the law, and but now you're asking me to sell all my goods and follow you. You know what I mean? So that's like a whole new level. That's a whole new level. That sometimes Jake can't get to that next level because of the hardness of their heart. Because if you go to Matthew, right? If you go to Matthew 5, right? Matthew 5 and verse 48, it says, if you salute your brethren, it says, for if you love them which love you, what reward have you? Do not even the publicans the same? And if you salute your brethren only, what do you more than others? Do not even the publicans so? Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. So he's saying it's perfect to salute people that are not the ones that you technically love. That becomes perfect. And if you go to Luke 6 and 36, it says, be ye therefore merciful as your Father also is merciful. So we know that the Heavenly Father is merciful. We understood that because we read in the book of Jeremiah 31:34, and we know in Hebrews he said he'll be merciful to our unrighteousness. So we have to be merciful as Yahushua is merciful. It says, judge not and ye shall not be judged, condemn not. So like I'm going to jump down to verse 40. It says the disciple is not above his master, but everyone that is perfect shall be as his master. So being merciful is being compared to being like your master, and your master is perfect. So being merciful can make you perfect. This is Matthew. Matthew 5. This is Matthew 5 and 16. It says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And it's funny, it says, let your light so shine before men so they can glorify your Father which is in heaven. And when you go here, it's Deuteronomy 4 and 6. It says, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and shall say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. So not only is this your light supposed to shine before your neighbor or your brother, it's supposed to shine before the heathen and all men, that so the Most High can get glory. And when you're leveling up, you're being an example even unto heathen, because eventually we know in this kingdom they're going to have to keep the laws. So when you level up and you're being a merciful man, you're even teaching the heathen how a prince of the power is supposed to behave. So when you go back to Matthew 5 and 16, it says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. It's basically talking about that in Deuteronomy. You jump down to verse 45, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven, for he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. So we understand that that's a new level. That's a whole different level that Jake doesn't even think about. He doesn't think about how his, being a good example to his beast. You know what I mean? Or being, because the Most High ultimately wants the glory from all men. That might be a little bit too heavy for Jake. Because if you go to 2nd Esdras, right? 2nd Esdras, matter of fact, this is going to be Exodus 9 and 16, and in very deed for this cause have I raised thee up, for to show in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. So we know that the Most High, just to precept that point that I made, that ultimately the Most High wants praise from all men. Exodus 9 and 16 shows you that he raised Pharaoh up so that he can get his name will be declared throughout all the earth. He want everybody to know. So it's not, you can't be so low. You got to reach the Most High. You got to get on the Most High's level, Most High time. There's a whole new level when you start to think about it a different way, man. This is 2nd Esdras 7 and 41. It says, even so now, seeing corruption is grown up and wickedness increased, and the righteous have prayed for the ungodly, wherefore shall it not be so now also? So we know that right now, the righteous, they're praying for the ungodly. And that, in certain Jake's mind, they don't understand that, man. They too busy wanting to curse something or wanting to put the enemy beneath his feet. The Most High is trying to find a perfect ruler. You gotta think deeper, man. The Most High is looking, he ain't looking for somebody to be Lord over his heritage, like to be acting like a wild man over his heritage. Because we know, what does it say here? This is Salakia. Bear with me for just a second. 1 Peter 5 and 3, neither as being lords over the Most High's heritage, but being unsamples to the flock, man. So he don't want you to be out here, being lords over his heritage in a negative way, man. Because that's being a bad example. He's not looking for people. He said he's putting up somebody that's profitable. Somebody that has care of his beasts. Somebody that that's not out here, just running amok. But anyway, back to 2nd Esdras 7 and 41. It says, even so now, seeing corruption is grown up, wickedness is increased, and righteousness and the righteous have prayed for the ungodly. So that's another thing, man. That's another part of leveling up. The righteous praying for the ungodly. Why? Because there is no commandment that says you can't pray for the ungodly, man. There is no commandment in the scriptures that says that. But you got to level up to understand that. There's no commandment that says you can't pray for the ungodly. You know, and even here, King David in 2 Samuel, right? 2 Samuel 19. Second Samuel 19 and in verse 1, and it was told Joab, behold, the king weepeth and mourneth for Absalom. And the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people. For the people heard say that day how the king was grieved for his son. And the people gat them by stealth that day into the city, as people being ashamed steal away when they flee in battle. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son. And Joab came to Salaki into the house to the king and said, Thou hast shamed this day the faces of all thy servants, which this day have saved thy life, excuse me, and the lives of thy sons, and of thy daughters, and the lives of thy wives, and the lives of thy concubines, and that thou lovest thine enemies and hatest thy friends. For thou hast declared this day that thou regardest neither princes nor servants. For this day I perceive that if Absalom had lived and all we had died this day, then it had pleased thee well. You see, and what they did was they had the misunderstanding or the misconception that David loved his enemies and hated them. But in actuality, David loved his enemies and his friends. His son became an enemy because he had war in his house. But in actuality, he loved his enemies and his friends. And that's something that Jake can't put his mind around, which is loving his enemies and his, not just his friends only. This is Matthew. This is Matthew 5 and 43. You have heard it said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. You know, and it's never been, where is love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But he says, but I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. So that's another level, man. You know, that's another level. You know, that's another level. Small minds can't grasp that, though. Matter of fact, Salakia, bear with me for just a second. 2 Thessalonians 1 and 11. Wherefore also we pray always for you, that the Most High would count you worthy of this calling and fulfill all the good pleasure of his goodness. Salakia. Salak. Bear with me for just a second. You know what? Maybe it'll come to me later. I don't want to spend too much time on that. But this is Ecclesiasticus 11 and 17. It reads, the gift of the Most High remaineth with the ungodly, and his favor bringeth prosperity forever. So it says that the gift Matter of fact, Ecclesiastes 11 and 60, error and darkness had their beginnings together with sinners, and evil shall wax old with them that glory therein. It says, the gift of the Most High remaineth with the ungodly, and his favor bringeth prosperity forever. So the Most High, he looks out for the ungodly. Matter of fact, let me go to Ecclesiastes 11 and 17 in the Good News Translation. What's that? Ecclesiastes 11, 17. It says, see what it says. That ain't that. Yeah, that's folly. Nah, we ain't doing that. So Ecclesiastes 11 and 17, the gift of the Most High remaineth with the ungodly, and his favor bringeth prosperity forever. So the Most High looks out for the ungodly, man. You know, he looks out for the ungodly. Matter of fact, Ecclesiastes 18:13, it says, the mercy of man is toward his neighbor, but the mercy of the Most High is upon all flesh. He reproveth and nurtureth and teacheth and bringeth again and shepherd his flock. So eventually we're gonna have to learn how to move like that. You know, that's reaching the Most High level, that's reaching God level. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to know how to move in this way, in this manner. You know, because right now the mercy of man is toward his neighbor. You know, but we're gonna have to learn. But it says the mercy of the Most High is upon all flesh. So we have to. We're gonna have to learn how to deal with the heathen as well, man. We're gonna have to learn how to deal with the heathen. You know, we're gonna have to learn how to, because our people are gonna be all righteous, but we're gonna still be governing, and giving out and delegating, you know, accordingly. But for the most part, it's gonna be about, like, you know, being ministers of the Most High. You know, so that's reaching a whole new level. This is the book of Mark 3 and 4. It says, and he saith unto them, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath days? Matter of fact, I'm gonna read from the top. And he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand, and they watched him whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him. And he saith unto the man which had the withered hand, stand forth. And he saith unto them, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath days, or to do evil, to save life or to kill? But they held their peace. Verse 5, and when he had looked round about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts, he saith unto the man, stretch forth thy hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored whole as the other. So a lot of things Jake don't understand because of the hardness of their hearts. They can't reach a new level because of the hardness of their hearts. They're still stuck on old stuff. So when you come to them with stuff like this, like what I'm bringing out today, they can't grasp it because of the hardness of their hearts. And the hardness of their hearts makes it so that they can't. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna explain it more with this with another precept. This is Mark 10 and 5. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, for the hardness of your heart he wrote you this precept. But from the beginning of the creation of them, Yahweh made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave. So its intended purpose wasn't. Some people miss the intended purpose. And the reason people miss the intended purpose is because of the hardness of their hearts. This is how the Most High wants us to move. He wants us to be on Most High time. You know, he wants us to level up, not only just stay within the perimeters of the law, not only get to the level of the royal law, but ultimately, you becoming like perfect, like your Father in heaven is perfect. That's the next level. You know, because it says the hardness of your heart, he wrote you this. And a lot of times people miss stuff because of the hardness of their heart. You know, just like the law was written for sinful men because the hardness of their hearts, man, they were wicked. You know, And when you go into hardness there, it's talking about destitution of spiritual perception. So a lot of people don't have that spiritual perception to understand the next level. You know? So if we really don't have no business having so much hate toward heathen. If you really consider and take a step back and excuse me, take a step back and you really examine it, we don't have a reason to really be mashing on heathen like that, because if Lord Yahweh Shai didn't really do it like that. Really, if we amend our ways and our errors, because you know, if there's no error in us, there's no one to be, you know, there's really nobody to be there's really nobody to be upset with. The only thing left to do is regard the life of your beast and be ministers, you know, and be ministers of you know, and there's nothing left to do. If we amend our ways, Salaki, if we amend our ways and you know, and there's no error, there's nothing, there's no one to be upset with. The only thing left to do is regard the life of your beast and be ministers of the Most High and priests of the Lord. That's the only thing left to do, is to be, you know, regard the life of your beast and be a minister of the Most High and a priest of the Lord. You know, but that's leveling up, man. Most high time. Because it's high time to wake out of sleep, right? That's where we heading, you know, whether you like it or not, though. It's Deuteronomy 25:4. It says, "Thou shalt not muzzle the ox when he treadeth out the corn." You know, and, you know, this is this is talking about, you know, on a deeper level. You know, it talks about, you know, if a man is doing you know, if he's putting in sowing spiritual things, then he should be able to reap something from a person. That's kind of what it's talking about. But then on another level, it's talking about regarding the life of beasts, man. You know, you don't muzzle the ox if he's treading the corn. You're regarding the life of your beast, and we know that people, the children of men, they are beasts. And eventually it's going to come a time when we're going to have to, you know, regard the life of them, of beasts. And we're going to have to be good rulers in the earth. And the Most High is looking to set up somebody that's profitable, man. Like I said before. Eventually we're going to have to regard the life of our beasts, you know, in the kingdom. You know, of course, you know, enforcing the law if they go off. You know, but it's going to be all done in righteousness. Jonah 4:11. "And should not I spare Nineveh, that great city?" This is when the Most High was, when Jonah was upset that the Most High didn't destroy Nineveh. It says, "And should not I spare?" So he was trying to put him on the Most High level, the Most High time. "And should not I spare Nineveh, that great city, wherein are more than 60,000 persons, that cannot discern between their right hand and their left hand, and also much cattle?" So he was considering the people that were in a beastly state and the actual animals. You know? And then this is the final point I want to make. If you go to 1 Kings, right? This is 1 Kings 18. 1 Kings 18 and verse 40. It says, "And Elijah said unto them, Take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there." So we see Elijah, man, he put them to death. And then if you go to 2 Kings 2 in verse 9, it says, "And it came to pass when they were in," you know, Elisha was Elijah's understudy. "And it came to pass when they were gone over that Elijah said unto Elisha," because he was getting ready to be taken. Elijah was getting ready to be taken. So Elisha was Pretty sad about it. We understand that through the stories. The sons of the prophets were explaining that to Elisha. So Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what shall I do for thee before I be taken away from thee? And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. So he asked for a double portion, which means he wanted to level up even more than his teacher. And then if you jump to 2 Kings 6 and 18, it says, and when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord. Well, matter of fact, this was people that were trying to hurt Elisha, right? It says, then the king of Syria warred against Israel and took counsel with his servants, saying, in such a place shall be my camp. And the man of the Most High sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of the Most High told him and warned him of, and saved himself there, not once nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king Syria was sore troubled for this thing. And he called his servants and said unto them, what, will ye not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? I'm going to jump to the point. And one of his servants said, none of my lord, O king, but Elisha the prophet that is in Israel telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and great hosts, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of the Most High was risen early and gone forth, behold, the host compassed the city, both the horse with horses and chariots. And the servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do? So he's trying to figure out how they're going to escape. So we know through the story, Elisha prayed that the Most High blinds them. So they were basically coming at him as an enemy. And we see what Elijah did, which was the man that he studied under. He was a man. He put those men to death. But if you look at his understudy, if you jump to verse 18, it says, and when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Most High and said, smite this people, I pray thee, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. And Elisha said unto them, this is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek. But he led them to Samaria. And it came to pass, when they were come to Samaria, that Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men, that they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. And the king of Israel said unto Elisha, when he saw them, my father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them? And he answered, thou shalt not smite them. Wouldest thou smite those whom thou hast taken captive with thy sword and with thy bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master. So he spared them. He had, he had mercy on his enemies. But that's a whole new level, man. Gotta go over Jake Head, man. But ultimately we're headed to a place, man, where we're going to be on the Most High time. We're no longer going to be, just in that box, man, dealing with the schoolmaster. And, we're going to be, our moral convictions are going to trump the schoolmaster. And then we're going to get to the point where the royal law is already a thing that we're operating in. It's going to be second nature. And then it's going to be, we're going to be, we're going to eventually reach the Most High time, man. Because we're made in the image of the Most High. So I prayed through the spirit power Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakakadash. This was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Enough respect to you brothers laboring, pushing the rock. Until next time, Shalom.